For years, I believed I had it all. A beautiful home, a successful career, a wife I adored. I worked hard not for myself but for us. Every late night at the office, every deal I closed, every sacrifice I made was to ensure we had the life we always dreamed of. And for the longest time, I thought she appreciated it. I thought our love was unbreakable, that our marriage was solid. But now, as I sat alone in my car, staring at the glowing windows of our bedroom, something inside me felt wrong. Because lately, Amanda had changed. She had become distant, cold, unreachable. First, I told myself it was just stress, that work had been keeping her busy, that her long hours, her sudden interest in staying out late, the way she was always glued to her phone, it all had an innocent explanation. I wanted to believe that, but then came the other signs. She had started dressing differently, lingerie I had never seen before, expensive perfume that wasn't for me. She laughed less at my jokes, pulled away when I touched her, and worst of all, she had stopped wanting me. It had been weeks since we had last made love, months since she had looked at me with desire in her eyes. Yet, I had refused to believe the worst. I had convinced myself that I was imagining things. Until tonight. Tonight, the truth was about to destroy me. I wasn't supposed to be here. I had a business trip one Amanda knew about. She had kissed me goodbye that morning, barely looking me in the eyes, telling me to have a safe flight. But my meeting had ended early. So instead of staying in a hotel for the night, I had decided to surprise her, to come home, to see her face light up when she realized I had chosen her over work. Instead, as I stepped through the front door, I was greeted by silence. No television, no music, just the faintest sound of something else, something that made my stomach clench painfully. Soft moans, a bed creaking. I froze, my heart hammering in my chest. No, couldn't be. I took slow, measured steps toward the bedroom, my fingers tightening into fists at my sides. Maybe I was misunderstanding. Maybe she was alone, watching something on her phone. But then, through the narrow gap of the slightly open door, I saw it. I saw her. I saw him. And my entire world collapsed in an instant. Amanda was on her knees, her body completely bare, her head moving up and down on a man I had never seen before. Her fingers dug into his thighs, her eyes closed, soft moans vibrating against him. She was lost in him, devouring him with a hunger I hadn't seen in years. Couldn't breathe. My mind refused to process what I was seeing. But it got worse. Because when he pulled her up onto the bed and flipped her onto her stomach, when she gasped in pleasure and arched for him, I heard the words that would haunt me forever. Yes, baby, just like that. You know Charles could never make me feel this way. The man behind her chuckled darkly, gripping her hips tighter. Poor guy. If only he knew what his wife really needed. I took a step back, my chest rising and falling too fast. I was going to be sick. I wanted to burst in, rip him off of her, destroy them both right then and there. But I didn't, because for the first time in my life, I felt completely powerless, frozen, utterly broken. And so, instead of making my presence known, I stepped away from the door. Silently, carefully, I walked out of the house, into the darkness of the night, and sat in my car with my hands shaking violently. Because I wasn't just dealing with betrayal. I was dealing with humiliation on the most devastating level possible. And if I wanted revenge, I had to be smart. I had to be cruel. And most importantly, I had to make sure that when I finally confronted Amanda, she would never recover from it. I sat in my car, my knuckles white as I gripped the steering wheel. Inside my house, my home, Amanda was still moaning for him, still whispering dirty little secrets meant only for me. I tried to breathe, but no matter how much air I pulled into my lungs, it wasn't enough. Because I had seen it, and I couldn't unsee it. I had heard it, and I couldn't unhear it. Amanda, my wife, my world, the woman I had sacrificed everything for, was upstairs, begging another man to do things to her that she had never once done for me. I pressed my forehead against the steering wheel, my mind racing. I should have stormed in and torn them apart. I should have grabbed that bastard by the throat and dragged him out of my house. I should have looked Amanda in the eyes and made her feel even a fraction of the pain she had just carved into my soul. But I didn't, because this wasn't just betrayal. This was humiliation, disgrace. She hadn't just cheated. She had laughed at me while doing it. And if I wanted revenge, I had to be smarter than her. I had to be crueler than she ever imagined I could be. So I wiped the sweat from my palms, took one last look at the glowing bedroom window, and I drove away, because tonight I wasn't going to confront her. Tonight I was going to bury the man I used to be. And when I came back, Amanda's world would burn. I parked a few blocks away and sat in the darkness, my hands still trembling with rage. Then, I pulled out my laptop. I had never once gone through Amanda's phone. I had never once doubted her enough to even consider it. But tonight, I was done being the fool. I accessed our shared cloud storage, clicked into her private folder, and what I found was worse than anything I had imagined. Videos. Not just one, not just two, but dozens. I clicked on the most recent file. The screen flickered to life, and there she was, Amanda, my wife, on her knees in some cheap hotel room, her lips wrapped around him, her eyes wild with lust. And then, she pulled away, giggling breathlessly, looking up at the camera. "You like watching me, baby?" she whispered. The man behind the camera chuckled. "You look so much better like this, begging for me." I wanted to break the laptop in half, to rip out the hard drive and burn it, but I forced myself to keep watching, because I needed this pain. I needed to feel it, every raw, gut-wrenching second of it. Because when I finally made my move, Amanda wasn't just going to lose me, she was going to lose everything. I scrolled through her messages, through every filthy word she had sent to him. "Amanda, I can't stop thinking about the way you fucked me last night. I swear, I almost moaned your name in front of Charles this morning. Unknown number. You should have. Maybe he'd finally figure out he's not man enough for you. Amanda, he never was." I clenched my fists so tightly my nails dug into my palm. My breathing turned ragged. I clicked on more messages, more proof of her depravity. She had never loved me. She had used me. And now, I was going to take everything from her. The next morning I made a call. Not to Amanda. Not to the bastard she had spread her legs for. But to my lawyer. "I need to file for divorce," I said, my voice steady. A pause. "Understood," he said. "On what grounds?" I smirked coldly. "Adultery. And I have proof." Amanda thought she had won. That I would stay clueless forever. That she could humiliate me, use me, take from me without consequence. She was so damn wrong. Because by the time I was done, Amanda wouldn't just be losing her husband. She'd be losing everything she ever took for granted. And I would finally be free. Sleep didn't come that night. How could it? Every time I closed my eyes, I saw her, Amanda, on her knees, on her back, moaning another man's name while laughing at mine. By morning, the rage inside me had settled into something colder, sharper. I wasn't heartbroken anymore. I was furious. And soon, Amanda was going to feel every ounce of the pain she had caused me. I spent the entire day securing everything I had built. I wasn't about to let Amanda walk away with a single dollar of my success. I met with my lawyer, handed over the evidence, and filed for divorce. But I wasn't done. Not yet. First, I froze all our joint accounts. Amanda would wake up tomorrow to find her credit cards declined, her bank balance empty, her safety net gone. Then I called our financial advisor. "Remove Amanda from everything," I said. "Effective immediately."
No hesitación.
"Understood, Mr. Jones." By nightfall, Amanda was financially crippled. She just didn't know it yet. And when she finally realized, she was going to break. That evening I dug deeper. Through her messages, her emails, her hidden secrets. I wasn't just looking for proof of the affair. I was looking for ways to completely destroy her life. And I found them. Hundreds of texts. More videos. More disgusting confessions. "Amanda. God. I love when you make me scream." Charles could never fuck me like this. Unknown number, because he's weak, baby. That's why you belong to me.
Amanda. Ido. I fucking do.
I clenched my jaw, the screen blurring in front of me. She wasn't just cheating. She was enjoying my humiliation. She had turned me into a punchline. A pathetic, blind husband who was only good for his paycheck. I exhaled slowly, my hands tightening into fists. She had no idea that tonight was the last time she would ever feel safe. At 11 p.m., my phone buzzed. Amanda. Hey baby, I miss you. Can't wait to see you tomorrow. I almost laughed. She was still pretending, still lying to my face. I typed back, me. I have a surprise for you when you get home. She responded immediately. Amanda. Oh, I love surprises. Can't wait, baby. I smirked. Oh, Amanda. You have no idea what's coming. The next morning I made 2 more calls. First, to Amanda's boss, the man she had been cheating with. You might want to check your email, I said, my voice calm. I had sent him everything. The texts, the videos, the proof of their affair. A long silence. Then, a shaky breath. Who the hell is this? I chuckled. Your new worst nightmare. And I hung up. Next, I called her parents. Her mother answered first. Charles? Sweetheart, what's wrong? I sighed, running a hand down my face. I need you and your husband to come over tonight. There's something you need to see. She hesitated. Is Amanda okay? I smiled bitterly. She's about to be the farthest thing from okay. Tonight, Amanda's perfect world was going to collapse in front of everyone she loved. And I was going to watch her burn. The house was silent, but my mind wasn't. I sat in the living room, whiskey in hand, watching the clock tick down to Amanda's final moments of peace. Outside, the world kept moving. People laughed, couples held hands, life went on. But inside this house, inside our home, a war was about to begin. Because tonight, Amanda wasn't just going to be caught. She was going to be destroyed. At exactly 7 p.m., the doorbell rang. I opened it to see Amanda's parents standing on the porch. Her mother looked worried, clutching her purse tightly. Her father's expression was unreadable, but there was something tense in his jaw. Charles, her mother said. What's going on? Amanda told us you had a special dinner planned. I smiled coldly. Oh, it's special, all right. Come in. They hesitated but stepped inside. They had no idea they were about to witness their daughter's greatest shame. At 7:30 p.m., the front door swung open. Amanda walked in, a bright smile on her face. Baby, I'm home, she called out. She was dressed to kill. A tight red dress hugging her curves, makeup perfect, hair done. For a second, I wondered, had she come from his bed straight to our house? The thought made my stomach turn with disgust. Then she saw her parents. Her smile faltered. Mom? Dad? She blinked, confused. What are you doing here? Her mother gave me a questioning glance. I leaned back in my chair, smirking. They're here for the show. Amanda's eyes narrowed. What show? I took a slow sip of whiskey, letting the tension thicken. Then I pulled out my phone, pressed play, and let her own sins betray her. The house filled with moans. Her moans, loud, breathless, shameless. Amanda froze, her face draining of color. Her parents? Her mother's hand flew to her mouth. Her father's face darkened with rage. But Amanda didn't move, because she knew what was coming next. The screen flickered to life, casting a glow across the dimly lit room. And there she was, naked, on her knees, begging another man to fuck her. God. Yes. Charles could never make me feel this good. The words echoed through the silence like gunshots. Amanda gasped, her whole body trembling. Her mother let out a choked sob. Her father? He turned away, his jaw clenched so tight I thought he'd break his own teeth. Amanda stumbled forward, reaching for me, desperate. Charles, please. I stepped back, letting her drown in her own filth. No, I said coldly. You don't get to beg now. She turned to her parents, panicked, breathless. Mom, Dad, Her mother shook her head, tears streaming down her face. "How could you?" she whispered. "How could you do this to your husband? To your family?" Amanda let out a strangled sob. "It was a mistake," she cried. I laughed. Actually laughed. "A mistake." I stepped closer, lowering my voice. "A mistake is one drunken kiss. A mistake is one night of regret. But this," I pointed at the screen, where her lover was grabbing her by the hair, making her scream for him. "This is who you really are." Her body shook violently, her breath coming in ragged gasps. She was falling apart. And I had never felt more satisfied. I turned to her parents. "She's your daughter," I said. "But she is no longer my wife." Then I dropped the divorce papers onto the table. Amanda let out a shattered gasp. "No. Please, Charles, we can fix this." I shook my head, smirking. "There's nothing left to fix." And then I delivered the final, brutal blow. "Your cards are frozen. Your accounts are empty. Your name is off the house. You have nothing, Amanda." Her knees buckled, her eyes wild with fear. "Charles, I have nowhere to go." I shrugged. "Maybe your lover will take you in." Her face crumbled, because we both knew the truth. He wouldn't, and she had burned every other bridge she had. Amanda collapsed onto the floor, sobbing. Her mother turned away in shame. Her father? He looked at me, then at his daughter. Then he said the words that sealed her fate forever. "You disgust me." Amanda screamed, begging, pleading, but no one listened, because there was nothing left to say. I grabbed my keys, walking toward the door. Before I left, I turned back, giving her one last look. "Goodbye, Amanda." And then, I walked out, without a single ounce of regret, because she was already dead to me. I walked out of that house and never looked back. Behind me, Amanda was screaming, begging, crumbling into the pathetic, broken woman she had turned herself into. But I didn't care. Not anymore. She had destroyed our marriage long before I caught her in our bed with another man. And now, she was simply facing the consequences of her own actions. The next morning, my lawyer called. "Everything has been processed, Charles. Amanda has no legal claim to any of your assets." I smirked. Good. I wasn't about to let her walk away with a single cent of my money. I had spent years building my success, and she had spent months betraying me. She deserved nothing. And now, that's exactly what she had. That afternoon, my phone buzzed. "Amanda." I stared at the screen for a long moment. Then, against my better judgment, I answered. "Charles, please. I need to see you." Her voice was weak, shaking. I leaned back in my chair, my voice cold. "Why?" She sniffled. I made a mistake." I chuckled darkly.
No, Amanda.
"You made a choice." A shaky breath. "I don't have anywhere to go. My parents won't take me in. My friends won't even answer my calls." I smirked. "Sounds like a you problem." She sobbed into the phone, desperation leaking into her voice. "I don't love him, Charles. I swear it was never about that. Please, I just need another chance." I exhaled slowly. Then I laughed. "Amanda, I wouldn't take you back if you were the last woman on earth." Her breath hitched, a broken sound of complete devastation. "Please, I don't want to be alone." I smirked, delivering the final blow. "Then you should have thought about that before you fucked another man in my bed." And with that, I hung up, blocked her number. But I wasn't done yet. Amanda wasn't the only one who had humiliated me. There was still him.
Hello.
And I had unfinished business. I pulled up my emails, attaching all the evidence I had gathered, the messages, the videos, the explicit proof of their affair. Then I sent it to his boss, his wife, his closest friends and family. By nightfall, his world would be completely obliterated. And as for Amanda, she would have nowhere left to run. That evening, I sat on my balcony, staring at the city skyline. For the first time in years, I felt light. No more lies. No more humiliation. No more cheating wife dragging me down. I took a slow sip of whiskey, savoring the taste of victory, because Amanda had lost everything. And I was finally free. The next morning, I woke up feeling lighter than I had in years.
No, Amanda.
No more doubts. No more lies poisoning my life. But there was still one more loose end to tie up.
Hello.
I grabbed my phone, checking my emails. The messages had been delivered. His boss, his wife, his closest friends. By now, his world had imploded. And I was going to enjoy every second of his downfall. At noon, an unknown number flashed on my screen. I already knew who it was. I answered, keeping my voice calm, composed. Charles, you bastard. A smirk tugged at my lips. Ah, so, you got my email. The man's breathing was ragged, furious. You destroyed my fucking life, he spat. I leaned back in my chair, unfazed. No, you did that to yourself when you decided to screw another man's wife. A shaky breath. My boss fired me. My wife kicked me out. What the fuck am I supposed to do now? I chuckled. Not my problem, is it? Silence. Then, a whisper of pure desperation. You ruined me. I took a sip of my coffee. My voice calm, cold, victorious. Good. And then I hung up. That evening, as I sat in my office, my phone buzzed again. Amanda. I ignored it. Then another message. And another. Then, a voicemail. I let it sit for a few minutes before finally pressing play. Her voice came through weak, broken, begging. Charles, please. I have nowhere to go. No one will help me. My parents won't even let me in their house. I don't know what to do. She sniffled. I know I hurt you. I know I don't deserve forgiveness. But I can't do this alone. I need you. I listened in silence. Then I deleted it. Blocked her new number. And with that, Amanda was officially nothing to me. I sat on my balcony, whiskey in hand, watching the stars. The weight on my chest was gone.
No, Amanda. No betrayal.
No pathetic excuse for a man trying to steal what was mine. I had taken everything from them. And now, I was finally free to start over. And this time, I wasn't going to waste a single second of my life on someone who didn't deserve me. For the first time in years, I woke up without feeling a weight on my chest. No wondering where Amanda was. No checking my phone for her excuses. No pretending that my marriage was anything more than a lie built on betrayal. I stepped onto my balcony, the morning air crisp against my skin. Everything was quiet, peaceful. Amanda was gone. Her lover was ruined. And me? I was finally free. Later that day, a blocked number called. I already knew who it was. I let it ring. Then came the message. Amanda. Charles, I know you hate me, but please, I just need to talk. I stared at the screen. Then, for the hell of it, I answered. Her breath was shaky. Charles. Thank you for picking up. I said nothing. She sniffled. I have nothing left. I don't even have a place to sleep tonight. I leaned back in my chair, smirking. And that's supposed to be my problem? Charles, please, she sobbed. I was stupid. I lost myself. But you were my home, my safe place. And I cut her off, my voice calm and unforgiving. Then you should have thought about that before you let another man inside our home, and inside you. Silence. Then, a broken whisper. Is there really no chance for us? I let out a slow, cruel chuckle. Amanda, I wouldn't take you back if you were the last woman on earth. Her breath hitched. She broke. I didn't stay to listen. I hung up, blocked her number for the last time. And that was it. Amanda was officially dead to me. That evening, as I sat in my living room, my phone buzzed. I expected it to be another pathetic attempt from Amanda to crawl back. But it wasn't. It was from Sophia, Amanda's best friend. Sophia. Hey, Charles. I know this is unexpected, but can we talk? I frowned, staring at the screen. Sophia. She had always been around, always standing beside Amanda like a loyal shadow. But now she was reaching out to me. I hesitated for a moment before replying. Me, what's on your mind? Her response came fast. Sophia. Can we meet? I have something to tell you. Something I should have told you a long time ago. I exhaled slowly. Amanda was gone. Her lies were exposed. But now, there was something else lurking beneath the surface. Something I hadn't seen before. And I had a feeling Sophia was about to reveal a truth I never expected. I sat across from Sophia in a quiet bar, the dim lighting casting soft shadows over her face. She looked nervous, stirring her drink absently, avoiding my gaze. I leaned back in my chair, arms crossed. "You said you had something to tell me," I said, my voice even. "So talk." She swallowed hard, then finally looked up at me. "I should have told you sooner, Charles." Her voice was soft, but there was something heavy behind it, something that made my stomach tighten. "Told me what?" I asked, my patience running thin. She hesitated, biting her lip. Then, "I knew about Amanda's affair." The words hit me like a punch to the gut. I clenched my jaw, my fingers tightening around my glass. "You knew," I repeated, my voice dangerously low. She flinched but nodded. "Not at first, but eventually, yes." "How long?" Her shoulders slumped. "Almost a year." A slow, sharp breath left my lips. A year. For almost an entire year, Amanda had been sneaking behind my back. And Sophia had known. I leaned forward, my eyes locked onto hers. "And you didn't think to tell me?" Her face twisted with guilt. "I wanted to, Charles. I swear I did. But she was my best friend. And I thought, maybe she'd stop. Maybe she'd come to her senses." I scoffed. "She didn't." Sophia exhaled shakily.
No.
"She didn't. And I regret not telling you sooner." I watched her for a long moment, my mind racing. Then something else occurred to me. "Why now, Sophia?" I asked. "Why are you telling me this now, after everything?" Her lips parted, but no words came. Instead, she looked down, gripping the edge of the table. I waited, and then, she whispered the truth I never saw coming. "Because I've been in love with you for years." The air between us shifted. My mind struggled to process her words. "Sophia, in love with me? What?" I said, my voice quieter now. She let out a bitter laugh, shaking her head. "You really never noticed, huh?" I thought back. Years of knowing Sophia, years of her always being around, always standing beside Amanda, always looking at me with something unreadable in her eyes. And suddenly it all made sense. "I wanted to tell you the truth," she continued, her voice raw. "But I didn't know how. And now I can't stop thinking about how different things could have been if I had." Silence stretched between us. I stared at her, searching her face for signs of deception, of manipulation. But all I saw was regret, and something deeper, something real. For months, I had been drowning in betrayal, anger, and humiliation. Now, sitting across from Sophia, I realized I had a choice. I could walk away, or I could finally see what had been in front of me this entire time. I took a slow sip of my drink, watching her carefully. "What do you want from me, Sophia?" I asked. She held my gaze, her fingers trembling slightly as she reached for her glass. "A chance," she whispered. "Just one chance to show you that you deserve better." I exhaled slowly, my mind racing. And for the first time since Amanda's betrayal, I didn't feel lost. I felt curious. Because maybe, just maybe, Sophia was right. Maybe I did deserve better. And maybe it was time to find out what that meant. I swirled the whiskey in my glass, staring at Sophia from across the table. Her confession still lingered in the air between us, heavy and uncertain. "A chance," she had said. "A chance to prove that I deserved better. A chance to rewrite the story that Amanda had burned to the ground." But was I ready? Could I even trust someone again? I exhaled slowly. "Why now, Sophia?" I asked. She bit her lip, her fingers nervously tracing the rim of her glass. "Because I can't pretend anymore," she admitted. "I've watched you suffer, Charles. I watched Amanda throw away something that she should have treasured. And through all of it I kept my mouth shut. I told myself it wasn't my place to interfere. But now," she met my eyes, her gaze unwavering. "Now, I just want to be honest with you." I sat back in my chair, rubbing my jaw. Sophia was everything Amanda wasn't. She was loyal. She was genuine. And unlike Amanda, she had never mocked me behind my back. But she had also kept the truth from me. She had known what Amanda was doing. She had let me live in ignorance. You let me believe I had a happy marriage, I said, my voice harder now. She flinched. I know. You let me go home to a woman who was cheating on me every night. I did. And now you expect me to just what? Look past that. Her expression crumbled.
No, Charles.
I don't expect anything. I just wanted you to know the truth. I wanted you to hear it from me, not from rumors or speculation. And if you never want to see me again, I'll understand. I exhaled sharply, dragging a hand down my face. I wanted to be angry. I wanted to tell her to go to hell, to tell her she was just like Amanda, another person who had betrayed me. But when I looked at her, I didn't see Amanda. I saw someone who regretted her silence more than I could ever punish her for it. And deep down I knew she hadn't stayed quiet out of cruelty. She had stayed quiet because she loved me. I finished my drink, setting the glass down with a quiet clink. I don't know if I can trust you, Sophia. She swallowed hard. I understand. But I do know one thing. Her breath hitched. I leaned forward, resting my forearms on the table. You're the first person who's been honest with me in a long time. She blinked, searching my face for any sign of hesitation. So, what does that mean? She whispered. I took a deep breath. It meant I was tired of living in anger, tired of carrying the weight of betrayal on my shoulders, tired of looking back instead of forward. It means, I said slowly, that maybe I'm ready to see where this goes. Her eyes widened slightly, lips parting in surprise and hope. Really? I smirked. One chance, Sophia. Just one. And as the tension between us shifted, as something warmer, something real, filled the space that betrayal had once occupied, I realized that for the first time in a long time, I wasn't just surviving. I was starting over.